Hello, hello, hello. Thank you again for joining me here. This is the Urban Surfer Glenn T, and you are listening to another episode of Riding the Wave. For those who want to reach out to me, my Facebook is rtw.podcast, my Twitter is Glenn_town, and my Gmail is ridingthewave.podcast@gmail.com. For all those people that want to find me out there, I'm featured on iTunes, Stitcher, Podbean, SoundCloud, YouTube, Spreaker, and Spotify. More venues to come. Website is coming soon. So how's everybody doing out there? Hopefully you guys are being productive and you guys are going everywhere you need to go safely. You guys are thinking about some of the things that I say, and you have some more suggestions and comments for me. Thank you for all of those who've reached out to me so far and actually been following me. I do appreciate that. It is very motivating. For today's topic, just jumping right into it. What is today's topic? Are you worth your weight in gold? That's what we're going to talk about today. Are you worth your weight in gold? Are you a true contribution to society? And again, this is Riding the Wave. This is the Urban Surfer Glenn T. These opinions and perceptions are my own. These are my own realities. My mission is only to change one mind a day in a positive way. If I've done so, wonderful. If not, I'm going back to the drawing board. You guys know that's what I do. So, what do you feel about being worth your weight in gold? That is such a cliche statement. I mean, if you ask me, it is certainly cliche to say the least. But, as we all know, those cliche statements, they do have a lot of relevance. Now, just imagine if you were a piece of gold and you weighed yourself. How much would you be worth? I mean, gold is pretty expensive, right? You know, you start to count up those ounces become pounds and things of that nature. And, you know, somebody heavy could be worth a couple of million. But the real question is, what do you do to contribute to society? You know, a lot of us, I mean, you know, we have a job. You know, a lot of us, we volunteer. A lot of us are big brothers, big sisters. You know, we run foundations and, you know, help people out in, you know, religious communities and political communities and things like that. I mean, there are plenty of people that are lending helping hands. I mean, how many of you guys have those volunteer things at your job? You know, those volunteer opportunities where you can actually help build a house or you can feed people and things like that. What do you think about that? I mean, I feel that's a nice little contribution to society, giving your time. I mean, that's certainly a value in itself. Definitely well on your way to being worth something. I mean, if you're giving back, you definitely have some weight on you. It's safe to say that you're probably going to be a lot more worth than someone who doesn't give at all. That's rough. How do you live a life and don't give? At the end of the day, what do you feel like you're worth? And for all of those, if you have any questions, comments, suggestions, always just reach out to me. You guys know how to do so. But I just really want your opinions on this one. What do you feel can increase your value? What makes you worth that weight in gold? What are you doing to contribute in society? You know, I would consider this podcast a form of contribution. You know, people listen to it. It changes people's minds, perhaps. And you may think or do something differently after the fact. That's a form of contribution. I'm not going to say this is a catch-all and this is it. You know, this is my quest for peace and, you know, to give back to the human race. But I say it's a start. You know, it's a little bit more than nothing. It's too easy to do nothing. So what are you actually doing to give back? How often do you think of this? I mean, is it something that if you're at work and everybody else is doing it, makes you think about it? I mean, you're sitting at home and you see those little kids with the cleft lips or, you know, the swollen bellies. I mean, do you go get your checkbook? I mean, really consider this for a moment. Because you know we're all going to go back to shore. You know, we're all out in the ocean right now. We're all trying to surf and catch that wave. Right? But eventually we're going to go back to shore one by one by one. And we have a lot of life in front of us and a lot of life that we've already spent. And what are we doing in the form of contribution? Like, I mean, what are we giving back to society? How? I want you to start really considering it because, every day that goes by is one day less that you have. Really take an assessment of yourself. What have you done? Not for you, but for society. How do you contribute? I mean, do you vote? Do you help anybody? Do you get out of your car and direct traffic on those bad days? Or do you open doors for people or carry bags or anything? There's many ways to contribute. I mean, even for the women, you guys can give advice to one another, help nurture. A lot of women out there are actually just, they're single, they're independent, and they're facing a lot of challenges that men have to face. Is there any help for them? These are things that you just want to consider. I mean, what are you doing to contribute? This is something that, yeah. So again, this is Riding the Wave. This is the Urban Surfer Glenn T. Let me ask you, being that we're on the subject of being worth your weight in gold itself and giving back to society, I mean, some people are just more interested in the gold itself. Sometimes people just simply do things for the reward. Is that wrong? Is it conditional to the reward itself? People will do a lot of things. They'll chase this gold. They'll take on second jobs and do all of these other things to make sure that they have the gold. But is the worth there? Are these things that you're committing yourself to actually worth something? You got a new pair of diamond earrings, or you're able to double or triple up on your car note or something to that effect. But are you really truly contributing? What do you do to ensure that people are eating? What do you do that ensures people are knowing the right path to follow? At least in your opinion. If you were to pass away, I mean, would it leave a dent? How many hands would be left empty? Sometimes a person will live their entire life and not be significant to anybody because they're more interested in the gold than being worth gold. Why is that? What is it about the gold itself that's so interesting, but the ability to be worth the stuff that you chase and more is not really as appealing? Would you rather be looked at as a noble person or as a rich person? Are you teaching those little brothers and those little sisters outside the difference between right and wrong because you know where they come from? You know what they're up against when they go back upstairs. Their parents might not be in the best of conditions. They might not be eating. Do you care? What are you doing to get your weight up? And not in any other sense, but your weight as in your value. What are you doing to increase your value? Are you attending any anonymous meetings and just offering a part of yourself? I mean, have you signed up for any big brother or big sister roles? Public speaking is free. The freedom of speech is a right. That's something that we can all do. These things help. What else do you think helps people? What else can you do to get your actual value up? What will increase your value? You know how people, they go to school, they get their education, or they work in a certain field for many years, and these things help increase your value, right? The way you cut a diamond makes it look better. Certain stocks you invest in increase, right? I mean, where was Google in the very beginning, right? I'm sure Pepsi didn't start off as a multi-million-dollar company, or Coca-Cola. I mean, they started from somewhere, obviously, but they increased their value. They felt it was important. How much more your life? How much more the value that you offer to people? I mean, the people that made Coca-Cola and Pepsi, I'm sure they feel that they added value to the world, right? Where would this world be without soft drinks? Or the inventor of cigarettes, right? Where would this life be without a bushel of tobacco chopped up and wrapped in paper? So what are you doing on getting your value up? How do you do that? I mean, we could exhaust some options. And again, for those just listening in, this is the Urban Surfer Glenn T. You are listening to Riding the Wave. If you want to reach me, I can be reached. My Facebook hold is rtw.podcast. My Twitter account is Glenn_Town, and my Gmail is ridingthewave.podcast@gmail.com. So I'm extremely interested what you guys think. And again, these opinions are my own, my realities, my perceptions. My only mission is just to change one mind a day in a positive way. So I want to know what makes your worth any better than the next person's, right? Are you worth your weight in gold? Are you a featherweight with nice clothing? What are you doing to contribute to society? What are you giving back? If you was to pass away today or tomorrow, would there be any dent or any significance of your presence? I mean, we want to increase our value. We do it by educating ourselves. How do we increase our value? How do we get our value up? We do by educating ourselves, and we take that education and we commit to it. We commit to practicing it. What good is knowing something if you're not doing something? I have a question for you guys. You know there's two sets of people. You know there's the educated and then there's the experienced. You do have a line between both. You can be both, and you can be either. You can be educated, you can be experienced, or you can be uneducated and inexperienced. But what do you feel gets your weight up faster? What do you feel offers the world more benefit through you? Is it this textbook knowledge? Some people highly favor textbooks. Some people highly favor education. Education is definitely something that is highly recommended. How you educate yourself is something that people don't speak about. Because a lot of times people do go to these institutions of higher learning. A lot of times these people pay thousands of dollars just to have a professor or professors teach them these things. You also have people that they hit the ground running. You know, they just start to experience life from an early age. They go through a lot of trial and error, and they just get that experience head on right away. And that's how they are able to teach people. That's how they're able to get their value up. Both are right. Because I do agree that you must educate yourself, but I also feel that experience is the best teacher. What do you guys think? Questions, comments, suggestions? You know, again, this is Riding the Wave. This is the Urban Surfer, Glenn T. All we're just trying to do with this show here is get you guys back to shore safely, make sure our deeds are good, my deeds are accounted for, and we're not doing anything crazy to drown ourselves or get lost in the sauce. But getting yourself that value, getting your worth up is something important because people find value in materials. Why not yourself, the mind that makes the material? This is something that people really need to focus on. Finding ways to increase your value as opposed to attaining all of these different material possessions, which makes you feel like your value has increased because you look like $1 million, but you might be worth $1. I mean, what good are you if you're driving foreign cars, you're wearing all these expensive jewelries, but you haven't fed a poor person in the last 10 years? Really think about it. It doesn't take much to be significant, but it does require a lot of work to become insignificant. So getting your value up, certainly an important feature that we have to commit ourselves to. We're all grown out here. We should start as children. Start looking at our self-worth. Start looking at our abilities, our strengths, looking at our weaknesses and opportunities and building on those things. This is other ways to value yourself up. Always make assessments of yourself. What are you good at? What are you not so good at? What do you want to do? How can you help people the most? Where are your passions? These are all ways that you can get yourself into that value up stage. Find yourself a good passion that helps other people, such as podcasting, writing, blogging. Hey, people go through music and TV. I mean, there's so many different avenues to become value to society that If you're not doing it, it's because you choose not to. People can tutor and teach people a second language. How many times have you met a foreign person? They're foreign because they're not from here, or they're not native to the land that you're listening to my voice in. So what happens? That is another opportunity. That's someone else that can use your services, and also someone that you can use theirs. Help increase each other's values. Let a person know their worth. Show them the good things in themselves. A lot of times people walking blind. People walking, they can't see their value. They just do good deeds and don't hold any value to it. Take assessment of yourself. Really check to see what you're doing to offer yourself to other people. There's a reason why you have a sound mind. There's a reason why you have health. There's a reason why you have that money in your pocket. And it's not just for you. Because all of these things, if they were just for you, what good would it actually be? Who really places the value? Is it you, or is it your environment, your surroundings? What do you truly hold important? What do you feel will make you more valuable of a person? Is it more cars and clothes? Is it more money in accounts? Is it helping poor people out or teaching language? Or being mannerable whenever you can? Is it voting? We just have to figure it out, because at the end of the day, if we're living our lives and we're not really worth our weight in gold, then we're pretty much wasting our times, the times of other people, and we're wasting what God has created for us. So just really take value of yourself, really take assessments, and see where you're coming up short. This is something that you can do. It's very simple, and just change one thing. Hey, if you've never given something back to somebody, start now. Because the things that you do that forms habits in good ways increases your value. Remember, we're better than Pepsi and Coca-Cola. We're actually humans. This is something worth more than anything else that we're selling on this planet. So just keep that in mind, people. Again, this is the Urban Surfer, Glenn T. I want to thank you for riding the wave with me. Be safe. Be productive, be smooth, and get to where you're going. Tune in next time. And once again, thank you for riding the wave. Take care.